Hello everybody, back for I believe video number 5 on building these two cars. Did, as you can see, I have the front ends installed, rear tires. These are basically ready to get on the track and start making laps, but first and foremost I want to go over to pick up shoes. So what we're going to be doing in this video is setting up shoes. I try and do it as best as I can here in this camera and other things, so I can show you what it is to look for and how to adjust and what to do to get it right, and try to make a couple laps, bring the camera over and make a couple laps, see where we stand. The cars have never been on track and the camera is really focusing quite nicely. There we go. Ish. Maybe not. Yep, there we go. Okay, first off, what we're going to be looking for is the flatness of the pickup shoes. Alright, we're going to set the shoes flat. Get them flat. I'm going to set them on a 13th thou. It's kind of a midpoint, if you will. I think my Bowman is 13. I can't remember. Irrelevant. Each track has got to get set up differently. So as a universal, we'll go with the 13th thou. But as you can see, try to get this angle right for you, that the shoe is all on the heel, and that's not what you want. You want to get them flat. And speaking of flat, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. Got flat sanded shoes, and I'll show you a couple passes. My trusty Harbor Freight knife honing stone. Make a couple passes here very lightly. Just put your index finger on the contact portion, or the inside contact portion of it, right? And you're just going to go circle motion, just very lightly. You're not putting any pressure on it. You're just basically, a very minimal amount of pressure, okay, to try and sand what is there off. And you can see, try to anyways, there's a again, I apologize because this camera is upside down from what I'm seeing on my screen, but you can see right in this area here is unsanded. It's kind of hard to see it in this with the camera, but you can kind of get it. I'm trying to get the angle of it just right for you. And you put it on the track without sanding it flat first, you're going to run into that issue where you're not getting good contact, defeating the purpose. So we'll just do this a little bit more, a couple, 3-4 times either way, and check it again and make sure that it is flat, completely sanded flat. And all the imperfections from being made are gone. And I'll do one better for you. This will probably show up a lot better on the camera. I'm supposed to take a black magic marker here, and we'll marker that, and then we'll flat sand a little bit here. Let's do a couple quick swipes, and there you go. Yeah, see, that shows up a lot better. See how it's got a little bit of a contact on the outside edges and right here in the back, and there's barely a couple swipes in the middle of the Try to dim the light on this camera. Maybe it'll get a little bit better focus on it. There you go. And there you can see what I'm talking about, how I sanded it and it's touching here, here, and here. So we'll do a few more passes, a couple more passes on it until again we're going to sand it all the way out so all that black is gone off of it. And you're not taking a lot of material off. Trust me, you'll still get a race or two out of these. You see? Now it's flat. So now that the shoe's flat, oh, alright, we'll keep doing the tweaks. Shoe setup is a huge thing. These cars run like shit if the shoes ain't set right. And that's why you're gonna have this is how you take a really good car and ruin it, is by not having your shoes be flat, wrong tension, too much travel, not enough travel. I mean, you're not flat in multiple ways, right? You can have them not flat this way. You could have them not flat this way. And if you don't have them flat this way, like they'll ride down the rail, like, I mean, it's obviously slightly exaggerated. But you ride down, if your rail's like, you know, this, and you got the shoe sitting like that on the rail, right? If it's bent bad enough for you to get a loan off of a rail, this portion is going to hit the track, and you're going to lose connectivity on the rail to the flat of the shoe, the contact patch on the shoe. So you want to make sure that the shoe's basically flat, square on the rail, as much contact as possible. And you'll see after you make a couple laps, you know, if you make a few laps and you see the rail wear right here in the front, you're like, oh, okay, I got too much nose. Or see it, you know, just like from this section back, you got too much heel. If you see it here just in the middle, that means there's a bow in the shoe, right? And you get a bow in the shoe, and you got a flat sander. Try to flatten it out using a pair of flat job pliers, and try to flatten it out and resand it, or just take the shoe and throw it in the trash and start over. I've done that a couple times. I've molested a shoe pretty bad once, and I'm like, yeah, this is just not worth the dollar that is sitting here in copper. So in the trash it went, and I moved on to the next one. I've also run into, too, if the shoe's not right, your tension's not right, and you burn, even sanding it, flat sanding it, whatever, it's just going to inherently burn again and again and again, regardless, even if you move it over to the other side, because obviously not your hot side. It's just going to keep burning. Something happens with the electrical contact in there, and it just builds up a carbon deposit or whatever, and it just keeps doing it. It will never stop burning. So I've had to yuck a couple pairs of shoes before, just yeet them right into the trash. So at any rate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to eliminate this movement here. Okay, that's one of the things that need to be done on these shoes, on any shoe, is to try and eliminate that. And how we do that is we take ourselves a flat jaw pliers like this, all right, and we're going to put it right in here. This is how I do it. I've seen people do it differently. I've seen people come at it like this. I mean, I've done that too. It's probably a little bit more accurate, because if you do it this way, you can bend it in, but you'll also take the hook side here, and you're going to then pull it down, if you will, flatten it. It kind of takes this curve out, or it bends it around, which will in turn put more tension on your shoe spring. All right, and you don't want to do that. You want to try and keep this bend. You just want to close this gap up, if you will. You don't want to change the angle of this bend or the arc on it, because if you change the angle of that bend, like I said, it's going to affect the shoe tension. So how I do it is I just put my finger on it and just give it a little bit of a squeeze. This is a feel thing. Start out with a pair of used, beat up ass shoes so that you can, if you ruin them, it ain't gonna matter. All you're gonna do is just put another shoe on. I'm not really bending it that much. I'll show you, this is a brand new one. It hasn't been sanded, nothing, so just to compare the apples, I didn't bend it much. Try and get you there in the middle. I didn't bend it much, but you can see the difference in the two. Okay. Because all I did was just tighten that up. Sometimes I go too much, sometimes you need to go more. Because again, what you're trying to do, and I've been told it's kind of a moot point because the spring is always pushing. The spring's always pushing down on this part of the shoe, which is going to keep it, on the plate. Well, I agree with that theory 110%. But if I can get the shoe to stop rocking back and forth, then it's going to constantly keep electrical conductivity on it. Shit, I went too far with it. And if you go too far, the shoe won't do anything. See now it's stuck down. I went too far with it. But we eliminated the end game was, the end result was figured out here. See, it's not moving at all. Your lateral movement. I just got it. Now I got to back it off because I went too far with it. You have the right pair of pliers, you can get right in there and just kind of give a little bit of a pull back, and then you gain your movement back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and hopefully you can get it right and not have to replace the pickup shoe, because these things, I mean, you keep bending them, it's just gonna break. Yeah, damn it. It's such a minute adjustment to get it where it needs to, where it's not restricting the travel. And by restricting the travel, I'm not saying restricting the length of the travel, but the movement, the motion, the fluidness of it going up and down, where it feels the shoe feels like it's binding. And it's actually pretty lazy right now. It doesn't have the spring back. Like if I push on this one, it hasn't been touched, you can feel it kind of spring back. You can feel the action of the spring and a pivot. This is there, but it's pretty lazy feeling. And it's actually, it still has a little bit of movement to it, but it's not as floppy, if you will. And the other thing that it does too, by doing that, is you see this movement here that I have. That's the shoe that's not touched. This is the one I just did. It has been reduced a ton. And you want to try to also eliminate that, and that'll help life a lot too when your shoes are getting them set up and getting the contact that you want, so that it's better for performance. Okay. I know damn well that this is going to affect the spring tension on it, and I'll show you the difference on the spring tension. I get my spring force meter from White Dog Scale Racing, and hopefully we can, mind you, it's obviously backwards and upside down. Yes, I know. Just stand on your head when you're watching this part of the video. The new shoe, or the one that I modded, is this fella here. The one that I adjusted the hook on. Okay, and we're at 1.8, 1.9. Let's go over to the other one. That's how much it changed. And to be honest with you, I like to set my shoes up. I haven't touched this gauge at all. The screw, I haven't gone up or down with it at all. So if you have one of these, You should be pretty close to what I got. But what I like to put my spring tension at is about 2.5. Not, I have like the hardest time getting, well, I'm not going to say that. Putting a pin in there. Yeah, so we're a little light. I told you, I just felt lazy. Setting up spring tension, and some can disagree, some have other opinions, some have other input on this, which is fine. Okay, everybody has their own opinions and their own theories. I like to have a little bit more spring tension because it gives you to punch out of the corners. It'll allow the car to it makes the car faster. It'll also, like I said, give you the punch out of the corners. It'll give you the top end speed that you need. Sometimes it makes it a little unstable in the corners. So if you're on a tight and twisty track, maybe a little less shoe tension is probably going to work out better. A fast, free-flowing track, kind of like what I have. You'll see, and maybe in this video, my middle section of my track is all S's. It's got technical corners to it. Nothing too crazy, but this 2.0 might be a little light, a little bit lighter than I like. Again, like I said, I like it around 2.5 grams. So I might just leave it alone and say to hell with it and see what it does. Leave it at the 2 and see what it does. But we're going to go ahead and get the other one set up and just do the same thing here. If you squeeze this down, you put your finger there. Now, you're not going to squeeze the life out of it, but you're going to squeeze enough. And if you're good with the fingers and you're good with the touch, again, start using it with just a beat up pair of shoes so you can get the feel for it. You can actually feel you squeezing down on your finger as you're tightening the hook. You can feel it tightening up. That way you're actually doing something. I just want to go a little bit more with that. And of course, the minute. Yeah, I thought I flattened the damn thing right out. My pliers slipped off. You gotta be careful you don't pinch your finger too, because this shit hurts. Trust me, I know. I've spent a lot of time focusing on not pinching my finger, crushing the shoe. I spent a lot of time adjusting shoes. It is, like I said in one of the previous videos, see I went too far with it. Shoes completely bound right up. I've spent a lot of time on shoes. I spend as much time doing shoes as you do the freaking motor plate. So the two crucial parts of of building a car, in my opinion. Oh man, that feels good. I like that one. I like it better than the other one. This one might need just a little bit more of a tweak. Let's see where we're at with the tension. See, if you bend it right and you do it right, and this is where we're gonna go. We're gonna go do a lot of back and forth now. Yay! Okay. This one needs to come out just a little bit, and I'll end up going too far because we have such precision tools that I'm working with here. Oh, see, yeah, just a little bit might have did it. Okay. Ah, that's great. That's a little bit higher than I wanted, but man, I got that one. This one I just readjusted is money. That's like right where I want it. Okay. Now, how are you going to fix that, you say? Well, we can do this here. We can take and put your pliers at an angle like that and just give it a little bit of a pull down on the shoe, and you're going to change the angle of the hook, and it'll change the when you change the angle of the hook, it gives it a little bit more or a little bit less space between the chassis and the oh my god, get in a hole. That's what she said. To change the angle of the hook and the distance between the chassis and the bottom of the pickup shoe, obviously the shortening or lengthening it, and it's going to change or increase or decrease the spring tension accordingly. So if you give it more of a gap, it's going to reduce the spring tension. Less of a gap, it's going to increase the spring tension. So we're at 2.5. And I remember back in the Aurora days, and some people may still set their shoes up this way, but back in the Aurora chassis, you'd always want to set your driver's side up to have more tension than the passenger side. This is currently backwards from that. It doesn't look like it on the video because, again, everything's backwards and upside down. But I told you to stand on your head when you watch this video. Or if you really, if you've got blood rush by now, you should take the monitor and flip it over and watch it through a mirror, and it'll come out right. It'll look good. But we're a little bit light on this shoe still, the driver's side. So this is a back and forth thing to get your tension right and get your and to get the angles and everything, get them right. It takes some time. You're going to be in and out, back and forth. This here, to bring it back the other way, to tighten it up, we're going to change the angle. We're going to shorten the distance, if you will, from here to the chassis. And we just take your flat jaw pliers again and just give it a little bit of a tweak like that. And then we're going to see where we sit with the shoe. And now we're going back to 3.0. So now we're back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is the best part about setting up pickup shoes, and I still love that one's perfect. I want to take a little bit more out of that. If I had it at 2.8, I'm going to leave it alone. Because yes, I do like to set them up so that they're a little bit, little hot on the, heavier on the driver's side. I know I had it at 2.8 before, and I really wanted it at 2.5. And I like to bounce it in and out a couple times and just get a visual average. I'm not going to sit here and write down everything. Oh, I'll math it out. Geez, we're at 2.73. You know what? I'm going to call it. Okay. The 2.5 and 2.8 on the shoes. They're sanded flat. They're adjusted flat. We've gotten rid of 90% of the flop. You can never get rid of all of it unless you completely restrict the absolute piss out of it and then make the shoes useless and you lose your shoe tension. We've gotten rid of the rock to go that way. The side-to-side motion. We got rid of all that crap. Okay, now what we're going to do is get them so they sit flat, because as you can see, we're still healing pretty good. Okay. Another thing, now that we've tweaked the living piss out of these shoes, okay, with bending this knot out of the hook, what that also does too is affects, depending upon how you bend it, it affects your contact patch and the shoe. Sometimes it'll take the shoe and do, instead of it being flat, okay, it'll tweak it one way or the other, and you don't want it that way. You want it to sit here and be flat. Again, that's the goal, keep our shoes flat. And I'm going to use this fella here because I can go down the back side of it and you can look. We can see this issue that I've created. Now give me a second while I line this up. I mean, I can see it just perfectly, but I need to get the... There you go. You see this shoe over here. Yeah, this shoe over here on this side. See the light? There you go. See how it's got contact on the outside of this shoe and not on the inside portion of it? And by the inside, I'm saying right by the, if you look right where that crown gear is. This is tricky to get in this camera because I just look straight down it with my eyes. It's fine, but obviously the camera is entirely different. So bear with me while I try to get this explained out for you visually. Oh, and I smacked the shoe down and it went away. Yep, sure did. Must have been a chunk of dust or something. Yeah, there was. There's a little chunk of dust in there. Nope, it's messed up. Alright, hang on. Hang on, bear with me. Oh man, I wish there was a better way to depict this so that you can see it. But nonetheless, this shoe here is not completely flat, and it's annoying. Let's see if I can show it on this black. The black one will come up a little bit better, maybe not, maybe-ish. No, because it's... Alright, well, sometimes this shoe, like I said, this one here has got, it's hitting right here. Right on the front corner of the shoe. When I lay it on a flat piece of track, in this case, it's the my guide pin gauge. It's laying right on this outside edge of this shoe, and that's the problem that I'm having. But it depends upon how I hit it down on the track, or to pick it up and flap it down. There was a chunk of crap in there, is what it was. Rub it off here. No, not rub one off. What's wrong with you people? Get your mind out of the gutter. No. Alright. Yeah, this shoe here, you can kind of see it. It's got an angle to it. It's angled this way, because it's hitting right here on this edge. So what I gotta do is I gotta bend it so it lays flat this way, and then we'll worry about flatness this way. Right now I gotta get the flatness this way. And what I do for that is such a minute bend. I take my flat jaw pliers and I go right behind that bend like that. I take another pair of pliers and bend it the opposite way that it sits. Yeah, there we go. And I'm telling you, this bend, it's got to be so minute. I think I bent the shit out of it. I think it went way too far. I might have hit it right though. Yeah, we're good. I didn't go too far with it. We're good. All right. If you bend it too much one way, you just pull it back off and retweak it. Just back and forth again. You could spend 20 minutes doing that, get pissed off, and throw it in the trash. Or give it to somebody else who knows how to set shoes up. That happens to me. Hey, Steve, can you set my shoes up? Yeah, sure. Give me your car. I'll do what I can. Sometimes I get lucky, sometimes I don't. Usually I tell them, give me a brand new pair of shoes. They are new. Okay, cool. Give me a new pair of shoes, and I start from ground zero and try to undo what was done and then undo the burden that has been. Yeah. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set this up on a 13 thou block, on the 13th thou portion of the block here, and there we go. Wait for the camera to focus in. And what we're trying to see, or trying to do, is get these flat. Okay. And you see that little boink boink? It's right now it's hitting on the heel. Both of them are hitting on the heel. You want these to lay dead flat. So what I do is I take a pair of needle nose pliers, and small ones. You can use your other ones that I had, the flat jaws. It doesn't matter, whatever the hell. I actually like using the flat jaws because there's more surface area. And because you have too much heel on the shoe, you want to take the front and bend it down. So you want to bend it this way. So you want to give it some more nose, more and less heel. Let's see how bad it is. That's still too much. I don't want to go crazy with it, because if you do, you bend the snot out of the shoe. But where you want to make your bend is you want to make your bend in here. Because remember, this has got to be dead flat all the time, or the shoe's trash and it's not going to do anything. So you want to make all your bends to get your shoe for travel, flatness, everything. Your spring tension, movement, everything is right here, and from this bend back, everything needs to be done here except for restriction, which I will get to momentarily. Yeah, a little bit more needs to be done there. Oh, it's so good. It's very good. Still a little bit more. Wow. Okay. Whatever you say, Captain. I go a little bit at a time, because like I said, I can hammer this thing down and then I have to fight and go back the other way. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we're 33 minutes into this here, and I've spent, I could spend a lot less time if I'm not sitting here trying to show people and explain. Why? Just bend. There we go. And now, make sure you don't have any dust on your shoe or your block, your setup block. I've gotten rid of almost all the heel. And actually what I'm doing, and it's hard to see it in the video, but what I'm doing is, no, I think I got it right. This camera actually magnifies it so much better. There's a little bit of heel. I like to have a little bit of heel on my shoes. It just makes them, somehow or another, the cars just respond better with having a little bit of heel in it. Makes them faster. But we got this one here. I got lucky and got that done pretty quick. So we're not going to screw around anymore with that. That one's good. I got lucky with that. First bend. Okay, on to restriction. And restriction of your travel is is getting rid of that. Now, you definitely don't want to get rid of all of that, but you want to get rid of 90% of it. There are Z-bends that you can do, and there's a theory behind it. And the theory behind the Z-bend eliminates this, right? But I got rid of most of that just by bending the hook portion of it. If I really wanted to, I guess I can do it. The Z-bend, the theory behind the Z-bend is, I need a pointer. The theory behind a Z-bend is you take this section of your shoe and you bend it backwards, and you bend it into the chassis so that the window rides right in here. Okay, the window rides right on the upright of the chassis, and kind of like that there. If you can see that. And what that does is it allows the shoe to now be guided up and down. As it goes up and down, it allows it to be guided better than relying solely on the hook. Yeah, we're not going to do that today. Actually, you know what? Hell with it, I'll do it. And just bend it back. Get the shoe on there. And now I've completely bound the snot out of the shoe, right? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Bend down the top portion of it to get the restriction right. Is the other plus side to it is if the Z-bend used to be a lot easier to do without the new shoes that Wizard makes with the tops already folded over. The Z-bend was way better to do, way easier to do it because you had to bend everything over yourself. When you bent the top portion over, you could leave yourself a little bit more of a gap. You see how you have that little notch right here on the little notch right here in the shoe. You could create more of that, which then you could turn around and bend further back and get onto this upright, which then would allow the shoe not to move back and forth this way. Yeah, like I said, me doing it on the hook, I'm not going to mess around with that too much. But I do like to bend them back anyway, so if you do get in an accident, just folding this over leaves you a lot less material on the pin of the chassis, and giving it kind of a Z-bend, if you will. What it also does is it pushes back and allows more of the pickup shoe to rest on the pin of the for the shoe. So if you do get in a wreck, it's not just barely on there with a prayer and a hope and a dream. There's more material there, so you won't lose a shoe. A shoe won't pop off. Because nothing pisses you off more than you get in a wreck because of somebody else's fault, or you're just brain farted, slamming into a wall, and you lose a shoe and a spring. It's custom bent, custom cut spring. Your shoe tension was exactly where it needed to be, and now you're screwed because you got to just go over your pit box and slam a brush in there and hope for the best, or a spring and hope for the best. But at any rate, here we are. The shoe travel that you want, see how much less it is, and that's really kind of what you want. You want a couple thou worth of travel out of the shoe, because in theory what you're doing is restricting as the car goes around a corner, and it'll lift up, it'll keep the car planted on the ground because there's no more electrical conductivity. Right? It's lost power from the rail, so it's going to lay flatter. It's going to make the car not want to roll over on itself in the corners. Let's get the other one done, and you want them both to be equal. So your restriction on both of your shoes, you want to be equal, left and right. And that's pretty damn good right there. That's pretty good. Now, some tracks may want more travel, some tracks may want less. Depends upon the corners. If you got cambers and bank corners, off camber corners, hills, things like that, low rail spots, whatever, you're going to want to try and change that up a little bit so that you have better. You make sure you have consistent continuity on the track with the rails. But with that being said, these shoes are set up, and we're going to send this car over to the track and see what happens. Now I'm 40 minutes into this, what I wanted a half-hour long video. But with that being said, each track or each car takes a little bit longer sometimes, or a little less time, or a little more time to get the shoes set up right. And that's about average right there. It's about a half an hour to set shoes up. So I'm going to try and set the camera up on the track so that you can see the car go around and see the lap times, and that'll be in the next video, which will be part 6. Stay tuned. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and like button and all that stuff, and share away, please and thank you.